My name is Spencer Martin. I am Director of Athletic Bands at the University of Idaho. I am also here with help from Vater Percussion, Vater Drumsticks. Today we're going to talk a little bit about drumline warm-ups, and I kind of use that somewhat as a caveat. I've used these exercises from 6th grade beginning percussion class all the way up through college, especially with the younger students. At least in my experience, I found that you kind of trick them into doing these exercises by calling it marching band, but I really did develop these for helping teach competitive drum lines at all different levels. And one of my frustrations is I thought it was really easy to get all hung up on warm-ups and to do all this focus on warm-ups and all these cool warm-ups and all these things, but it would never really transfer to the show, and it certainly would never transfer beyond that educationally, where I felt that the students were getting a comprehensive education of what they should be doing stroke-wise and exercise-wise. And so over the years I tried to combine and condense into the warm-ups that I thought were the most important, so that not only would you use them every day to help get warmed up before rehearsal, but you would also use them every day at all different levels to help the students grow as a musician and help their technique grow. And so one of the classic kind of marching band exercises that everyone does focusing on single strokes is called 8 on a hand. Everyone does it. And it's just basically you're doing eighth notes in your right hand and then eighth notes in your left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's vitally important. It's also vitally boring. The students stop thinking and they get tired of it, and all of a sudden you lose the whole point of the exercise of doing it ad nauseum. And so I thought, is there a way that we could do quote unquote 8 on a hand but make it a little more kind of exciting to do, I guess. I don't know if it's that exciting, but certainly make the students think more. And so basically I took 8 on a hand and just did what I call countdown. And so the basis of it is this: 16 on one hand, 16 on another, and then 8 and 8, and then we repeat it again, 8, 8, and then the true countdown begins. 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, then with kind of an ending tag on it. And let's talk technique really, really fast. If you think back and look back to some of those other videos, right now we're doing uninterrupted low strokes. And the way that I find the proper height for low strokes is I do the uninterrupted stroke and I get it low enough that it's still a low stroke, but high enough that it is not touching my palm. So you're talking about that height. When I was working with drum lines, and especially younger percussionists, we talk a lot about dynamics, and dynamics come from stroke heights. And when I was doing drumline, I basically talked about 3 different stroke heights. I talked about what I called level 1, which was a low stroke, level 2, which was halfway in between a low stroke and a high stroke. This would be kind of for mezzo type of playing, mezzo piano to mezzo forte. And then I talked about level 3, which would be at a high stroke height. That would be for forte playing. So piano playing, mezzo playing, and forte playing. A lot of drum lines and drum corps will do actual heights, 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch. I mean, any of those techniques, all of it is great and valid. Use what works for you. But really working on a height level for dynamics where you could give a student an automatic go to level 1, they know what that meant. What I found for most of my success is that we would always start at level 1. We would always start exercises and young students at a low dynamic level. They got more control, they learned how to play softly, correctly, and it was much easier than to get louder than it was to get softer. So I'm going to play most of these exercises, at least this first one, at level 1. But here's countdown at level 1. Uninterrupted low strokes, so we're going to play it fast enough where it's off the palm. So it starts like this. 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 2 3 4 5 6 and 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 1 pop pop. That's the basis of the exercise. And then what was great is the more and more we did it, the more the students would take over. Instead of doing it at level 1, they do it at level 2. I had one student that created a whole dynamic exercise where it would float from level 1 up to level 3 and then back to level 1 over the 16 and then the 8 and then the 7. But I found this is just an exercise that you can run 3 or 4 times at the beginning of rehearsal at all different speeds, different heights. getting the students to work on that low stroke or high stroke uninterrupted motion without them getting bored. It's just been an effective exercise. So thank you.